We were designed to create, and we can use this resource of creation on a daily basis if we have the right perspective. You'll have to indulge my faith for just one more minute in this course. I believe we are made in God's image, each one of us made in God's image, and God is the great creator. So part of getting to take on his image is getting to be able to create and having this desire to create. And ultimately, when we have created, to find some satisfaction in that. Just like God sat back and said, this is good, or this is very good. We have this innate desire to create things that are good or very good. And so that can be, that desire can be crushed, by a lot of things in life. It can be hidden under a lot of trauma or, brokenness of this world, things that we go through, or, just the way that we grow up and never, being never taught about this resource. But that doesn't change the fact that it's in you and that it can come out, and then it can be very helpful for your health as well. We create even when we enter into relationships, right? When we get into a relationship, especially an intimate relationship, two people are coming together and there's something created in that was not there before. The two individuals existed. And then when they get into a relationship, there's a lot of things that can come out of that relationship with those two different perspectives coming into focus. Or, it could even be a group dynamic where a group gets together and shares perspective. And then all of a sudden something is created out of that, something new that was not on the earth before that group joined together. And so we create even when we enter into these intimate relationships, especially when we talk about marriage and things like that. The Bible talks about the two becoming one. That two becoming one creates something new, right? We create when we do a project. We do projects, around our house. We can do projects outside in our yard, projects at work, projects at church. Wherever you do a project and you create something new that is, wasn't there before, you're creating. When you clean a room, you're creating order from chaos. So there's chaos in a room. You go and you create order. If you've ever watched any of those shows on any show about your home, there's the hoarder show, or the renovation shows, anything where they come in and something is just broken down and can be the most horrible place, and they clean it up and they give it a facelift, and then all of a sudden it's this new beautiful created space, and it makes us want to watch more, right? We like that kind of stuff that draws us. Organizing, if you organize a drawer or cabinet, you're creating that order from chaos, which is something that God did in the beginning when he took the chaos that was the darkness and said, let there be light, and then created order in the world. When you write anything, you're creating with your words. You're putting words together. Many times, unless you're copying something, you're putting words together in a way that hasn't been done before, or that you don't think has been done before, and you're creating something new. When you learn something and you apply what you've learned, you're creating out of your knowledge. And so that's another way that you can create. Playing music, when you learn how to play an instrument, or learn, sing, or write songs, anything like that, you're creating music. Planting outside and growing something, you're creating something new where there was just dirt, and then watching it grow, getting to watch it grow. Drawing or painting something, you're making a picture, you're creating art. Sculpting, anything like that to create art. We now have places that we can go to specifically do these types of things. And it is entertainment, but also it's using the gifts within you to create something. And that's why it appeals to us. That's why it's something people want to do, and will even pay to go do. Or when you refinish something, I know I have many friends that will go to the thrift store, find things that are old and make them new, give them a makeover, and change things about them, repurpose one thing into another thing. You're creating. Creating brings us satisfaction, and that's something that helps with our health. It helps with our brain pathways. It helps with our chemicals. It just in general lifts our mood and helps us to be more healthy people. Many of these resources if we're taking them for granted, if we aren't really noticing them and being intentional about being like, oh, I'm creating something new, we miss out on some of the health benefits. Probably not all of the health benefits, but some of the health benefits, particularly, creating those new pathways in your brain and, making sure that you're getting those in deep and grooving those in deep, that pathway of satisfaction, of feeling like you've accomplished something, of feeling like you have purpose, feeling like there's a reason for your life, and that you are beautiful and wonderful and can do beautiful and wonderful things. It improves your health in so many ways. We can also improve our health when we enjoy what other people have created. And that's some of the stuff that we're going to talk about in this module. We're going to talk about the resources of beauty, whether we created it or whether someone else created it. Beauty is a resource to us. And when we notice it and when we're intentional about it, when we stop and smell the roses, so to speak, we improve our health. We improve our mood. We improve even our character and the person that we are just in doing that. Books, when we read books that other people have written, or when we write books, when we write stories and write things that help others, and either it's so much easier these days to put it into book form. I'm a published author because I was able to self-publish on Amazon, and many of us don't have the social media following or the things that we might need to market and produce, a book. But now we have resources like self-publishing that can allow us to do it even when we can't go out and find an agent or find a publisher and do things that way. And then also the resource of music, which we're going to talk about in this module, and I'm excited about because I think there's some things that you'll learn about music that you may not have known before, and may change the way that you view music and the way that you use music as a resource in your life. So we're going to get started in this module, but I hope that you will find every opportunity as you're going through this throughout your day to notice when you're creating and to celebrate that and to find satisfaction and beauty in that, because that's what you were put here to do. You were put here for a purpose and you're put here for a mission. And part of that is being able to create good things and, create light in the midst of darkness. There's ways that we can bring encouragement in the midst of discouragement, and we're creating a new environment. We're creating a shift in perspective. This whole course I've been putting together these concepts that I've learned along the way into a format that hopefully is able to be understood and able to be easily applied. And so in a way, this makes me a creator. We call them creators on social media, right? Or even on, however that comes across, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these places, people that are doing things on there are called creators, and they're creating, with their influence, they're creating new ideas in people and new perspectives and new ways that people see the world. And so I just don't want you to forget that automatically, just by being born, you were put here to create. And so I hope that you will find all the good ways to do that.